Hi YouTube, welcome back to the channel. My name is Liam Duval. I'm a full-time property investor, and this is part one of a three-part series, Rent to Rent for Beginners. How you can go and secure your first rent-to-rent deal and make money from a property you don't own. Stay tuned for part three to find out how to do it the right way. Right, before we can go and make money from a rent-to-rent deal, we need to know what it is. So rent to rent is where we will negotiate a deal with a landlord. We will fix their rental income for a set period of time, generally 3 to 5 years, up for 5 years. We will then increase the value of the rental value of that property, either by decorating it up to a higher standard, putting extra rooms in, using it for a different purpose. So we could use it for short stays rather than long-term HMOs, or putting it to a social housing lease provider. That's a little bit of a spoiler. Just stay tuned for more about that. Once we've increased the rental value of that property, we'll then find a tenant for it. Like I say, you can use short stays. That will be renting out to contractors or tourists. I prefer contractors and short stays. I don't really do short stays, but I prefer contractors. So you would rent a 5-bedroom HMO out to a set of contractors that are working in the area. They've got parking for the vans, all the lads are together, good atmosphere, and it saves their company paying for hotels. You'd either rent it out to students or professionals. So generally these HMOs we're taking over run down and tied. So you tidy it up, decorate it, new carpets, new furniture, grass on the walls, TVs in all the rooms, nice en suites. And they'll pay an increased rental for a nicer property. My preferred way of doing it is using social housing. So we will rent the property off a landlord, get the property tidied up and up to regulations, and then we'll put a social housing leasing on that property, which will fix the rental income for us at a high rate of what we're paying the landlord. They also cover all utility bills, so we haven't got to worry about gas and electric going sky high. And that's pretty much it to rent. That's a simple overview of it. We fix the rent with the landlord, look after property or tidy it up, so there's a little bit of a cash outlay there, and then we'll find an end user for that property that's going to pay more than what we're paying the landlord. Don't go running out and talking to any old landlord now. Stay tuned to the end to learn how to do this properly. You can come unstuck very quickly. Obviously, there's risks. Any investment, there is a risk. So we've got to guarantee the landlord's rent. So you've given that landlord, where you signed a contract, giving your word that you're going to be able to pay that rent. You need to be able to follow that through. We're also putting a cash outlay in by the bit in the middle. We've got to refurbish the property up to standard, either increase the standard so we can get the higher rental income, or just get it up to the social housing standard, nice, tidy, clean and safe. So we're giving someone a nice environment to rebuild their life from. So if you've guaranteed the landlord that rent and you've put a cash outlay in, you need to be 100% sure that your end tenant is going to pay. So with service accommodation, it's going to be, with tourists, it's going to be very up and down, holiday sort of times. Contractors are good, they're good payers apparently. Like I say, I've not had much to do with service accommodation. Students are really good because they're in for a set period of time. They're in for the semester, the term time. I don't think that is going to change with the new laws that are coming in. I think they're going to exclude students, but take care of that. Obviously, professionals, you're going to get people arguing over whose milk is whose and whose cheese is whose. So you're going to be managing tenants. That is the only problem there. With social housing, our lease provider look after the tenants, so we haven't got to worry about tenants arguing. They are the lease provider there to take care of the tenants. So we're very hands off, and we have a fixed contract with government income. So what we'll do now, after researching that property, doing our due diligence, making sure the numbers stack up, we'll give that agent a phone call, explain to them who we are, what we want to do with the property, how we can help them give the landlord a fixed rental income. Agents are also going to benefit from this as well, by the way, because they'll still charge a management fee even though they're not having to do anything. What we want to achieve from that phone call is a viewing, essentially. So either I'll go and view it, or one of our local guys will go and view the property, get the deal sorted, negotiated, and contracted, we'll then be making money on that property that we don't own within the next month. And that'd go on for the length of the contract. I'd say either 3 or 5 years. So to summarise, what we're doing with rent to rent is we are providing the landlord a service where we are fixing their rental income, taking away all the headaches of students, professional tenants stealing each other's milk and cheese, increasing the rental income, and taking a bit of profit out of the middle. You need to be very clear of the benefits and risks of rent to rent. So you are guaranteeing the landlord's rent. You've got to pay that landlord's rent, whether it's empty or tenanted. That is not their problem anymore. That's your problem. Make sure you've got tenants going into that property. 100% social housing is the way to go on this. You have a lease that will guarantee your rent for the length of that contract. Stay tuned for part 3 on that. Make sure you do your due diligence. So make sure the numbers stack. Make sure you're going to be able to rent that property out at a higher price. If you're using professionals and students, you need to do research on open rent, spare room, open rent, all of the student portals. Make sure that the increased rent that you think you're going to get, make sure the properties are actually going for that property, going for that price. With our social housing provider, what we can do is we'll send off a postcode check, and they'll give us a rental price that they'll do for that in the next normally 7 working days. Right, so to find a deal, what we do is first hit Zoopla. A lot of smaller agents tend to be on Zoopla. They're more open to working with company lets. I don't know whether it's cheaper than Rightmove or something, I'm not sure. Southampton is a good area for us that I'm looking at the minute. So we'll go there and click to rent because we're also doing rent to rent. Open it up, so 5 miles for now. Let's make it nice and easy for the purpose of this video. 5 bedrooms minimum. Minimum price, you're probably going about £1,500 a month minimum. That just cuts out all the riffraff for the purpose of the video. Again, make it easy again, lowest price. That's a good one. There we go, straight away. That one's on twice, 2 different agents. Probably means the landlord's getting desperate to get it let out. It's empty, it's been refurbished by the looks of it. So he's just put a ton of money into this, been refurbished, he needs it let out. Might get the student market still, but we could ring these up. I think we've worked with these before, but we could ring these up, explain what we do, who we are. I shouldn't be showing deals in my area, really, should I? Offer a company let, and obviously put a long-term lease on the property with the landlord. We're guaranteed to give the property back in the same condition or better, look after all bills, everything during the contract period. So he has no problems at all. Obviously, this is fully refurbished, so he'll get it back as good as what it is now at the end of the contract if you don't want to renew. Yeah, it's simple as that. So I'll ring those guys up. I'll show you how to do the calculator. So that's £1,700 a month for a 5-bed property. So going to here, so it's £1,700 a month. We get about £450 a room in that area, 5 bedrooms. Gives us about £550 a month profit. So yeah, pretty decent deal that. No voids in that we've got to take into account, no bills or anything like that, so that's good. There's another good one, another 5-bed, not as in good condition, but it'll do, pretty tidy. 1,700 again, same agents, another good one. So I'll just be ringing all these up. Easy as that. Stay tuned for part 3. I'll show you how we're making money on property that we don't own. I'll show you everything, what we're doing, how we're getting them, how we're securing them, and what sort of money can be made from these.